Valuing sex is a symptom of integrity, which is vital to one's ability to be faithful in a relationship. I just watched a video of Pearl saying, "Women don't want men who don't sleep around. Modern women don't want men who treat them like queens." This cannot possibly be true. Now, mind you, my husband is fairly nearly perfect. I give him 87% there. I almost didn't marry him. As in, I was not wearing my engagement ring and I was practicing my breakup speech because of his sexual history, despite the fact that he had made the decision to stop sleeping around a couple years before I met him. I wanted the good virgin boy. How in the world could it be that young women now want guys who sleep around? My husband almost lost me. I think this gets pretty deep, but I think there are two main points to this. One, people don't know what sex is for and what it does. And two, people want to be forgiven for their promiscuous past. Now, sex is not a competition of who is more desirable than who. And it seems that this mindset has started taking hold. I've seen people tweet that they don't want to be with a man who doesn't have side chicks because maybe then they're with someone who no one else wants to be with, so maybe they're a loser. But alas, I think that might have a bit to do with our competition-driven culture to be chosen amongst others, which is ironic that people fail to see that choosing to be with just one person is still choosing them above anyone else. It's simply a mindset caused by a lack of integrity. They cannot fathom someone having integrity and choosing fidelity, so they need to feel chosen in some other way. Touching down on people wanting to be forgiven for their past, so they minimize it. We've been telling teenagers to have sex for a long time. I believe it became pretty prevalent during the boomer teenage years. It was seen as some kind of rebellion, but it really just was a hijacking of the culture. You had movies like Grease, which normalized teenage sex. You had birth control become so widely accessible, so then now, after giving a license of expectation and protection, they were told to go crazy. That generation really lost the foundational awareness of the importance of sex. Of course, they couldn't then teach it to their children. So then now, teenagers who don't have the maturity to choose not to have sex or choose partners wisely are now having more sex than ever, making use of their bodies before their brains catch up. And on a subconscious level, I think they're looking for validations of their sexual past when they hope that their sexual partner is more experienced or about as experienced as they are. My husband, when we were talking, straight up told me that he could never have imagined someone like me without a sexual history was ever good enough for him. And that's why he didn't pursue me at first, because he wasn't good enough for the modest, chaste girl. Sex is not a pastime, as teens have had subconsciously drilled into them. I say teens because this concept began at that point in people's lives and continued on. Sex being a pastime is probably the biggest lie fed to, well, everyone, because look at what the oldest profession is. It's just a lie that's become far more prevalent. The purpose of sex is not for fun. Is sex fun? Yes, it's great fun. I actually started writing a book about how to have better sex. However, the purpose of sex is to, 1, strengthen the bond between partners, and 2, reproduce the species. Shock, gasp, yes, that's where babies come from. And people using sex as a pastime has produced an army of children who do not live in stable homes, which is what has produced a lot of societal issues. Our mental health crisis in this country is directly linked to a lack of stable home life in adolescence. Go look up some info about the home lives of the most active pew-pewers. I'll help you out. They didn't have active fathers. So these people who treat sex as a pastime, not waiting until they find someone who can support them emotionally, physically, and mentally, who have the capability to cherish them because their brains aren't developed enough to have the maturity required to commit to a lifelong partner. No, they choose to have sex outside of marriage, demeaning commitment in the first place, then have children whom they then deny the most fundamental right of a child, a loving home. Or, they kill the child before they're born. once again minimizing the importance of human beings and continuing the cycle of parents choosing themselves over their children. And we wonder why our society is so messed up. Sex is massively important. It's powerful. And if it's not used correctly, it's dangerous. People learn to wield it like a weapon, ironically demeaning its power in the process. What is authentically empowering is virtue, self-control, patience, prudence, and choosing the good of others in society over your own wants. Do you realize we would eradicate STDs? We could eradicate AIDS if people just stopped being sexually irresponsible and stopped sleeping around outside of committed marital relationships in just one generation. But people don't actually care about the health of others. People are selfish. Having sex outside of marriage is selfish. It also sets you up for failure if you choose to get married later. There's really no good reason for having multiple sexual partners. And if you choose to keep yourself chaste, you deserve a happily ever after romance with someone who cherishes you. But if you devalue sex, you do not deserve someone who values sex. And that person is going to be capable of fidelity. Valuing sex is a symptom of integrity, which is vital to one's ability to be faithful in a relationship. Remember that. You should not want to be with someone who has sex easily with other people. They cannot love you because they don't know what love is. And it's sad because they don't know what love is because their parents didn't teach them because they likely didn't know themselves. Promiscuous people are not bad people. They're just people who were led astray and who are fighting to find self-worth and power and control. They're trying to fill that ache in them that they shouldn't have. They too, like everyone, need love and support. But part of loving others is telling them the truth so that they can live a more fulfilling life. The boomer generation of teens was lied to. Gen Z is being lied to. And it's only leading to more misery. And it's because sex has been so devalued. I'm Regina Lux with Veritas on the Rocks. Follow for more philosophy like this. Now, my loves, ignite the truth and boldly go.